second point I want to talk about. Mass market research just does not deliver. Market research that's intelligent, la Brazil, possibly helps deliver more. Building insight is the biggest challenge if you want to understand emerging markets and emerging market consumers, and new market research is here, and one of the observational tools is what I spoke to you about just now. We also do something like wardrobe study. You know, a new method of study is, I've just finished, my company, we've just finished a massive research exercise across 41,000 homes in this country to understand, we are doing this for an international player in the undergarment segment. International player. Because India is a huge market for undergarments. Why? 1.2 billion people. If you look at it, 1.2 billion people need at least 6 undergarments a week, if not 7. And 7 into 1.2 billion is a large number. Agree? Agree? And there are many types of undergarments. I won't go into it. Our wardrobe study, we want to find out how people use undergarments in this country. How can I find out? If I come to you and ask, hey, first of all, if I ask you, how many do you have? Now listen guy, if I come and ask him, he's smiling, he's rubbing his nose like this, he's doing this, nobody wants to answer these kind of questions, right? Secondly, if I ask him, in your wardrobe, he says, I have 16. Out of those 16, how many have got holes in them? Arey yaar, come on, I've been a student, I know all these things. You think anybody will tell you? Anybody will tell you? And therefore, you know what we do? We do something called wardrobe study. I come and knock on your door and I say, can I come in? You say, yes, come in. Can I please see your wardrobe? What? Wardrobe? Nahi! I mean, that's a shout. Never, ever. We go to 20 houses. One house, a person will allow you to see their wardrobe. And what do? We go and take out every item in the wardrobe, do an audit like a CBI raid, special chabis. We go and tuck. We take a look at every item and we lay the good ones out, etc. The bad ones, the ones with holes, the ones unused, and then we do an audit. Now we know the real number. He said, I have 16. Arey yaar, there are only 3. Only 3. 3 for a week? How does it happen? The dhobi is active, very fast cycle of washing. The reality is, I have data, Indian men, I have data on women as well, but I won't talk about it today. Not an occasion to talk about it. But among men, Indian men have a total of 1.6 pieces of undergarment in their wardrobe. 1.6. 1.6 means 1.5. I mean, half is a statistical average. You know how bad that is? In the United States, the average is 14. In Germany, it's 23. In India, it's 1.6. So per capita consumption of lot of items. What's a great way of finding out? Wardrobe study. Fine. And when I went for a wardrobe study, I found crazy things. We opened the wardrobe and we have people, one garment which is hanging, not undergarment, regular garment. They've never used it. It's been there for 20 years. What is that? No, I don't use it. Why? It's an unlucky garment. Any of you have got an unlucky garment in your wardrobe? What happens when you wear it? Bad things. What garment is it, by the way? Can you explain?
It's a formal shirt.
Formal shirt. Bad things happen. Anybody else? What happens, man?
I had a t-shirt.
What?
I used to be with accidents.
Can you imagine? Every time you wear a t-shirt, I met other women like that, a pair of jeans. Every time I wear it, an accident happens. I met people, chappals. Whenever I wear it, it starts raining. Anybody? Anybody? We have to send you to Chennai. Huh? Okay. So, do you understand? You know what this means? We are irrational, guys. We are not rational. How many of you have a lucky garment in your wardrobe? Yeah, lucky. Whenever you wear it, good things happen. So I think, please understand this is the reality. How do you find these things out? By researching. What's the relevance of it? In my advertising, I can read it. Sometimes, one of the research exercises we did recently says, men in India are not respected at all by the women. What? And particularly after all this Galata. And therefore we made an ad. An ad has been made for a financial company. You might have seen some of it. ICICI Lombard or something. You know, the man comes out of the bathroom, chucks the towel on the floor, which is what all men do, by the way. Towel, and then she picks up, and she says she, and he quietly, he would hit her head on the drawer, so she pushes the drawer away. She doesn't even know that. They're walking, she's walking on the right side, traffic, he quietly goes to the left side and the woman doesn't know. And at last, somebody is saying, we men are good also. You know what I mean? And it gives a very positive cue to the woman and to the man. And the ad says, we give insurance to animals like these. Third one is the young consumer. The young consumer is the reality, guys. Most emerging markets are people by the young. Data. 54% of the population of this country in India is below the age of 25. How many of you are below the age of 25? Put up your hand. You are 54% of the country, guys. 54% of the country. 54% of the country. Great. Great. 72% of the population of the country is below the age of 35. How many of you are below the age of 35? And 25 also. Huh? Okay. Now you guys are 72% of the population. We guys are 28% of the population. Above the age. You know what the disaster in India is? All control is in the hands of old people like us. And you people have no control. And that disaster must be changed. Because when the young govern the young, you are going to have a different approach to markets. And hopefully you guys are going to spearhead that before you guys get as old as I am. Okay. Most emerging markets are people by the young. And rural markets are young heavy. Rural markets are even more young heavy than that. And the young are difficult to understand. You know that. Nobody understands the young. This is what I call the scratch card generation. Young want everything on the scratch card. I work in the IT segment. People want things, increments in 6 months. Promotions every year. Scratch card generation. Second is what I call the commode generation. In my book, I call it the commode generation. There's a paper on the commode generation on my Twitter handle. Those who want to read it. What is the commode generation? Very quickly. I call the young people the commode generation because most young people have never used Indian toileting facilities at all. You know what Indian toileting facility is? The one on the ground. How many of you use Indian toileting facilities in the morning? Put up your hand. How many of you use the commode? Commode. Yeah. They are the commode generation. What is the difference between the two? The person who uses the Indian toileting facility sits on his or her haunches for 7 minutes, because we know how much time it takes, 7 minutes, and bears the weight of his or her body on herself and understands mindset in the morning when you start the day. You think life is tough. And you have hunger in your stomach. Whereas a person who goes, sits on the commode and opens the newspaper, hey, life is Maharaja ki life hai. You know what I mean? And therefore the hungry will inherit the earth. If you have the hunger in your stomach to go and achieve, you will inherit the earth. Those who are not going to show hunger are going to continue sitting on the commode. And this is what I call the commode generation. It's a serious paper. I'd urge you to pick it up from my Twitter handle and read it. A quick shift of brand power is happening. There's a clear perceptible shift of power from brand owners to retailers. Retail is going in a very, very big way, as most of you know. And I'm going to speak for another 8 minutes and then conclude. From brand owners to retailers. Brand loyalty is dead, guys. Don't believe in brand loyalty. Have you done brand management as a course? Any of you? Yeah. There's chapter 2 in David Arker's book called Managing Brand Equity, which is called Brand Loyalty. In my book, chapter 7, I call it brand promiscuity. There's nothing called brand loyalty anymore. Because loyalty is anti-gravity. All of you are animals. You agree? The other day at one of the institutions, I said the same thing. One intense guy who had not slept well said, "Sir, don't call us animals." So I said, "Then what? We are social animals." I said, "Animal is animal." But the point is you are animals. And in the animal kingdom, there is no loyalty. Is there any animal which is loyal? Dog. Please go peep into the personal life of the dog and come back and tell me. Brand loyalty is dead, guys. It's aaj ye, kal wo. Parson, something else. brand loyalty is not real. Brand promiscuity is the reality. Again, you want to read a paper on this, go pick up one. Service loyalty is the new reality. You go to some place because you get great service, not necessarily because you get only brand loyalty. From this, I call it, in my paper, I call it from Mangal Sutra to Kama Sutra. It's moved that way. It's moved that way. My paper title is from Mangal Sutra to Kama Sutra. I presented it at NYU Stern, and when I presented it there, many of them knew what Kama Sutra is. None of them knew what Mangal Sutra is. So I had to explain to them, if you really look at it. The model is this. You must write serious papers.